Good morning everyone. In our previous video of Act 1 Scene 2, we have done till lines 412 and in this video we will be doing lines 413 till 474. So by the end of this video, you will be able to learn the explanation of lines 413 till 474 and you will be able to learn about the references and literary devices used in the lines 413 till 474. Let us discuss the lines from 413 till 417. Ferdinand, the ditty does remember my drowned father. This is no mortal business, nor no sound that the earth owes. I hear it now above me. Let us discuss the meanings of the following words. Ditty, song. Remember, remind me of. Mortal business, work of a man or sound made by human agency. So on hearing the song sung by Ariel, Ferdinand says that the song commemorates or reminds me of his father who is drowned. He believes that this cannot be the doing of a man, nor can it be earthly music. He then hears the music above his head. Prospero to Miranda. The fringed curtains of thine eyes advance and say what thou seest yond. The fringed curtains, it's a metaphor. The eyelids with eyelashes are compared to fringed curtains. So as a curtain is lifted, so Miranda has to advance, that is raise her eyelids and look. The meaning of advance, raise. Meaning of yond, there. So Prospero then calls Miranda's attention and tells her to lift her eyelids and say what she beholds there. Let us read the gist of the lines. Ferdinand says that the song he is hearing is about his dead father. It couldn't be sung by mere mortals. He then hears it overhead. Prospero says to Miranda to raise the curtains of her eyelids and take a peek at what she can see out there. Miranda, what is it, a spirit? Lord, how it looks about. Believe me, sir, it carries a brave form, but it is a spirit. Meaning of brave form is fine experience or handsome appearance. So Miranda looks at Ferdinand in wonder and admiration and asks Prospero what it is. She asks if it is a spirit. She feels surprised and says, "Oh God, how it casts its eyes all around." She assures Prospero that it has a very handsome appearance, but it is a spirit. Prospero, no wench, it eats and sleeps and hath such senses as we have such. This gallant which thou seest was in the rack. What is the meaning of wench, children? Wench means lass or maiden. What is the meaning of gallant? It means fine or young man. In the rack, one of the victims of the wreck. So, Prospero denies Miranda's thoughts of Ferdinand being a spirit. He says that Ferdinand is not a spirit. It eats and sleeps and has all senses as they have. The fine fellow whom she is seeing was one of the victims of the shipwreck. But he is something stained with grief. That's beauty's canker. Thou mayest call him a goodly person. He hath lost his fellows and strays about to find them. Let us see the meaning of the phrases. That's beauty's canker, anything destructive. Fellows, mates. Strays, wanders. Now Prospero further says about Ferdinand that if he had not been somewhat disfigured by his grief, that does great hurt to beauty, she might call him a good-looking person. He tells Miranda that Ferdinand has lost his comrades and is wandering about in search of them. Let us read the gist of the lines. Miranda is wonderstruck and says that he is very handsome. She concludes that it must be a spirit. Prospero says that it's not. It eats and sleeps and has the same five senses as they themselves have. He further says that the gentleman she sees now was in the shipwreck, and if he weren't a little spoiled by grief, which has always ruined good looks, she could call him handsome. He's lost his comrades and is wandering around looking for them. Let us now read lines 418 till 428. I might call him a thing divine, for nothing natural I ever saw so noble. Prospero aside. It goes on, I see, as my soul prompts it. Then he says to Ariel, Spirit, fine spirit, I'll free thee within 2 days for this. Let us discuss the meanings. It goes on, I see, as my soul prompts. It means my spell works as my heart desires. So children, Miranda in rapturous admiration says that she is inclined to call Ferdinand a divine figure, for in the ordinary course of nature she has not seen anything so noble. Prospero speaks to himself aside. He says that his spell is working just as his heart has desired. Then he calls out to Ariel and says, My delicate spirit, Ariel, I'll set you free in the course of 2 days for this. Let us read the gist of the lines. Miranda says that she could imagine he is divine. Who is he, children? It is Ferdinand. Since she has never seen anything so noble looking on earth before. Prospero says to himself that it is all happening according to plan, just as his soul wanted it to happen. He then says to Ariel that he is a fine spirit and Prospero will set him free in 2 days for doing such a good job there. Let us now read from lines 429 till 434. Ferdinand, seeing Miranda, most sure, the goddess on whom these airs attend, vouchsafe my prayer, may know if you remain upon this island, and that you will some good instruction give how I may bear me here. My prime request, which I do last pronounce, is, O you wonder, if you be made or no. Let us discuss the meanings. These airs attend means this sweet music attends. Vouchsafe means grant. Bear me, conduct myself. Prime request, chief request. So Ferdinand beholds Miranda in the distance and is smitten with love at first sight. He says to himself, most certainly, here is the goddess on whom this sweet music waits. He requests Miranda to grant his prayer, and he may know whether she dwells on this island, and that she may advise him how he might conduct himself there. He further says that his chief request, or though he utters it last, is to tell him if she, the wonderful object, is a maiden or otherwise. Let us now read the gist of the lines. Ferdinand, while looking at Miranda, says that this must surely be the goddess that the music is being played for. He requests Miranda to answer him and tell him if she lived on that island and tell him how he should behave there. He further says that his main question, which he has saved for the last, is that if she, a lovely and marvelous creature, is a maiden or a goddess. Let us now discuss lines 435 till 444. Miranda, no wonder, sir, but certainly a maid. Ferdinand, my language. Heavens, I am the best of them that speak the speech, were I but where it is spoken. Let us discuss the meanings. Wonder, object of wonder. Maid, a maiden or an unmarried girl. So children, Miranda says that she is certainly not an object of wonder, But of course, she is a maiden. Ferdinand is astonished to hear his own language in the desolate island. He says to Miranda that she is speaking his own language. He swears by God and says that he is the highest ranking person of all those who speak this language. He wishes that he were back to the place where it is spoken. That means he yearns to go back to Naples. Prospero, how the best? What wert thou if the king of Naples heard thee? Ferdinand, a single thing as I am now, that wonders to hear thee speak of Naples. Let us discuss the meanings. A single thing, a lonely poor creature. So Prospero admonishes Ferdinand and says, what does he mean by calling himself the greatest or the highest ranking person? And what would the royal king of Naples do if he heard Ferdinand saying so? Ferdinand, giving way to his grief for his father, says that he, a solitary poor creature, as he is now, who wonders to hear him speak of the king of Naples. He does hear me, and that he does, I weep, myself and Naples, who with mine eyes, never since at ebb, beheld the king my father wrecked. Miranda, alack for mercy. Let us discuss the meanings. Beheld means saw. And the meaning of wrecked, children? Wrecked means destroys. So Ferdinand further says that the king of Naples does hear him. That is, he can hear because he has died and gone to heaven. And because he does hear, Ferdinand is weeping. He then says that he himself is the king of Naples because he has seen with his own eyes. Since then, they are never dry. The king, his father, perished in the wreck. Miranda is moved to sympathy with Ferdinand's cause of grief. She says, alas, how sad! Let us now read the gist of the lines. Miranda says that she is not marvelous, but certainly a maiden. Ferdinand gets surprised that Miranda speaks his language. He swears by God and says that he is the highest ranking person who speaks this language and wishes that he were back where it is spoken. Prospero asks Ferdinand what makes him call himself the highest ranking and what the king of Naples would do if he heard him say that. Ferdinand says that Prospero would just see him for what he is, a person amazed to hear him talking about Naples. He further says that his father, the king of Naples, does hear him, and that makes him cry. He himself is the king of Naples, since he has seen him with his own eyes. These eyes that haven't been dry since his father has been killed in a shipwreck. Miranda prays to God to show mercy. Let us now read the lines from 445 till 456. Ferdinand, yes, faith, and all his lords, the Duke of Milan, and his brave son, being twain. Prospero, aside, the Duke of Milan and his more braver daughter could control thee, if now it were fit to do it. At the first sight, they have changed eye. Let us discuss the meanings, children. Being twain means being two of them. The Duke of Milan. Now Ferdinand talks about Antonio, but Prospero talks about himself. Have changed eye, that means they have exchanged looks. So Ferdinand says, yes, indeed, and all the lords perished with him. The Duke of Milan and his fine son, being two of them. Now, here Ferdinand is talking about Prospero's brother Antonio and his son. Prospero talks to himself aside and says that the rightful Duke of Milan, that is he himself, and his still finer daughter, that is Miranda, could contradict him if it were the time for it. Then with self-satisfaction he says that Ferdinand and Miranda have exchanged their glance at first sight. To Ariel, delicate Ariel, I'll set thee free for this. To Ferdinand, a word, good sir, fear you have done yourself some wrong, a word. Miranda, aside, why speaks my father so ungently? This is the third man that I ever saw, the first that I ever sighed for. Now let us discuss the meanings, children. Ungently means harshly. That ever I sighed for, it means for whom my heart yearned. And the figure of speech, parallelism, has been used in the line, the first that I ever sighed for. Now let us discuss the explanation of the lines. He then addresses Ariel. Who is he, children? That is Prospero. So Prospero then addresses Ariel and says that he will release Ariel for this. He then says to Ferdinand, and he says it rather sternly, that he wants to have a word with him. He says that he is afraid that Ferdinand has made some mistake. Prospero means that he must call Ferdinand to account for his claim to be the king of Naples. Miranda feels for Ferdinand and takes up his cause and asks herself why her father speaks so harshly to Ferdinand. She has a tender concern for Ferdinand and she says that this is the third man that she ever saw, the first for whom her heart has yearned. Pity move my father to be inclined my way. Ferdinand to Miranda, oh, if a virgin, and your affection not gone forth, I'll make you the Queen of Naples. Let us discuss the meanings of the following lines, children. Pity move my father to be inclined my way. This means, may pity induce my father to be as favorably disposed as myself. Virgin, maiden. So Miranda wishes that pity might induce her father to be as favorably disposed as she herself is. Ferdinand, without heeding Prospero's rebuke and lost in admiring contemplation of Miranda, says that if she is a maiden and if she has not already given away her heart to someone, he will make her the Queen of Naples. Let us read the gist of the lines. Ferdinand says that it indeed happened and all the king's men have been killed, the Duke of Milan and his fine son being two of them. Prospero says to himself that the real Duke of Milan, that is he himself, and his far finer daughter, that is Miranda, could beat him if it were the right time. Prospero further says that Ferdinand and Miranda have fallen in love at first sight. He then calls Ariel as wonderful Ariel and says that he'll set Ariel free for doing such good work there. He then asks Ferdinand if he could have a word with him. He further says that he is afraid that Ferdinand has made a mistake and he wants to have just a word with Ferdinand. Miranda then asks herself why her father is speaking to him so rudely. She says that Ferdinand is the third man she has ever seen in her life and the first one she has felt feelings for. She hopes that her father takes pity on him and treats him well for her sake. Ferdinand says that if Miranda is a virgin and she hasn't given her heart to another man, then he'll make her the Queen of Naples. Let us now discuss the lines 457 till 464. Prospero, soft, sir, one more word. Aside, they're both in either's powers, but the swift business I must in easy make, lest too light winning make the prize light. Let us discuss the meanings. Soft means patience. So Prospero tells Ferdinand to have patience. He says that he wants to have a word with him. Aside, Prospero says to himself that Ferdinand and Miranda are under the spell of each other, but he should make the swift course of love tedious and painful. For the prize, if is too easily won, it is undervalued. To Ferdinand, one more word, I charge thee, that thou attend me. Thou dost here usurp the name thou owest not, and hast put thyself upon this island as a spy to win it from me, the Lord on it. Ferdinand, no, as I am a man. Let us discuss the meanings, children. Charge means order. Attend me means listen to me. Thou owest not, which is not yours. As I am a man, I swear by my manhood. Prospero then more sternly than before says to Ferdinand that he wants to have one word more with him. He bids Ferdinand to lend him his ear, that is, to listen to him. He says that Ferdinand claims a name to which he has no right. Which name, children? His being the King of Naples. Prospero says that it seems that Ferdinand has landed on this island as a spy, so that he might win the island from him, its owner, Prospero. Ferdinand swears and says that it's not true. He can swear on the honor of a man. Let us now read the gist of the lines. Prospero says to Ferdinand to hang for just a moment. Then he says to himself that they are both in love, but he needs to cause a little trouble between them, or else they'll never appreciate the value of their love. Prospero then says to Ferdinand that he needs a word with him. He further orders Ferdinand to listen to him. He says that Ferdinand is calling himself by a name that doesn't belong to him, and he has come onto the island as a spy to snatch it away from Prospero. He says that he is the rightful lord of it. Ferdinand swears that it's not true. Let us now read the lines 465 till 474. Miranda, there's nothing ill can dwell in such a temple. If the ill spirit have so fair a house, good things will strive to dwell with it. Prospero to Ferdinand, follow me. To Miranda, speak not you for him, he is a traitor. Let us discuss the meanings. Dwell, reside. Temple, fair body. Miranda humbly pleads to her father for Ferdinand. She says that nothing evil can have a place in such a fair body. If anything evil will have such a fair dwelling place, then good things will fight with evil for its possession. Prospero, in a stern, commanding tone, says to Ferdinand to come with him, and to Miranda he says to not to speak for Ferdinand, as he is a traitor. To Ferdinand, come, I'll manacle thy neck and feet together. Sea water shalt thou drink, thy food shall be the fresh brook mussels, withered roots and husk, wherein a corn cradled. Follow. Let us discuss the meanings. Manacle, fasten or bind with chains. Mussels, a kind of shellfish found in seas or lakes. They were thought to be unworthy and unclean food. Withered means dry. Prospero says to Ferdinand to wait a minute. He says that he will fetter Ferdinand's neck and feet and give him sea water to drink. Ferdinand will have to feed upon common shellfish, dried roots and husks in which the acorn lodged. He tells him to come along with him. Ferdinand, no, I will resist such entertainment till my enemy has more power. Ferdinand draws his sword and is charmed from moving. Let us discuss the meanings, children. Entertainment means treatment. Charmed from moving means rendered helpless by magic from moving. Now, Ferdinand says that he will not submit to such a treatment until his enemy shows that he has a greater power. He draws his sword and is charmed from moving. Let us read the gist of the lines. Miranda says that a man as handsome as Ferdinand can't have anything evil in him. If the devil has such a beautiful house as his body, then good things would fight to live in it. Prospero says to Ferdinand to follow him. He then says to Miranda not to defend Ferdinand as he is a traitor. Then he again says to Ferdinand to come as he will chain his neck and feet together, and he'll give him sea water to drink. His food will be slugs, dry roots and acorn shells. Ferdinand says that he'll have to decline that offer, at least as long as he is stronger than Prospero is. Ferdinand then draws his sword, but he is charmed by Prospero. So children, that is all for the day. For your homework, you will have to do extracts 14 and 15 with pencil on the workbook. Thank you.